Hey you guys, what's going on? It's your big dreamer and doer, G Dinero, coming to you live for a TA Tuesday. Let's take a look at the charts and see what they have to say today. First, remember, none of this is financial, tax, legal advice, and should not be construed as such. This is me teaching you how to read the charts today, so let's dig in. We'll start here with the Bitcoin chart for the week. So what do we see since last week? Well, last week, we were looking at right here this crazy chop up and down. That was on inauguration, right after inauguration day, and the markets wicked up, wicked back down again, some violent up and down action. Since then, it went down and it did support, Bitcoin did support perfectly right here on the 50-day moving average. You'll note this is a 4-hour chart. You'll note that we popped down, bounced on the 50-day moving average, which was right around $99,000 or so. Currently at $102,000. Looks like the trend is starting to reverse. We did print a green mean reversion dot. So again, what does it look like right now? Looks like Bitcoin's right in the middle of the range. If you were to look at the entire confluence cloud, it's dead center in between both the bullish and bearish confluence cloud. So it's dead center there, sitting on the 50-day moving average, getting a little bit of a bounce. There's some macro kind of working against it right now. There was the whole deep seek thing that'll come up with all the different charts, and you'll see the effect of that on all the technology sector. And NVIDIA got hit really hard. We're not going to go over that chart today, but that is one of the ones that got hit really hard. But anything in the technology sector seemed to take a little bit of a hit whenever that happened just a few days ago, including Bitcoin. Right now, I see 99,000 remains as the primary level of support. If we were to break down from there, we do have a very strong level of support down here at $91.5 and $92,000. I don't see that in the cards in the immediate future. It seems like with a lot of talk about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, each state now in the United States here is getting ready to launch one, or has legislation and act in the works for a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and I think it's up to 15 or 20 states now. So a lot of really strong things looking good for Bitcoin. Also the ETFs. The ETFs are looking for in-kind custody. And with SAB 121 being repealed, that means that the banks will be able to custody Bitcoin. So a lot of really good tailwinds in its favor. Should see things starting to turn and starting to go back up, and hopefully attack that. And I know hope's not a strategy, but hopefully attack that previous all-time high right over $109,000. Next up, we have Solana Bitcoin chart. The straight up Solana chart. So on the Solana chart by itself, you'll note that we did come down and again support perfectly on this Fibonacci level, the 78.6 right there at 231. We did wick down as low as almost 220 with Solana back, Monday, yesterday, in fact. We hit 220. We did print a green mean reversion dot. That's telling us that it became oversold and is starting to return to the mean. The mean right now probably up here in this 245 range, 240, 245 range. So Solana is showing a little bit of weakness after the massive run-up last week. Remember, we had that giant run-up. Trump coin was launched, ran all the way up, set a new all-time high of around 295. But right now, again, similar to the Bitcoin chart in a holding pattern, we're right in the middle of the range right here. You'll note that the 50 and 100-day moving averages have come together right at about 211, 212 over here on the chart, and just above the 61.8 fib level. So for me, that's a strong level of support. If we were to break down from where we are right now, that 205, 210 range, I'm a buyer all day, every day, and twice on Sundays right there. Again, not financial advice, just what I'm doing with my portfolio. We will have some resistance again up at what was the previous all-time high of 264.63. Again, we did break out on that meme coin mania and hit almost 295. But we're going to find some resistance again here on the way back up. Now to go to the Solana Bitcoin chart, I'm just gonna hit this very quickly, but you'll note at this point down at the bottom of the screen here, Bitcoin was overpowering Solana. Bitcoin was in favor, right? I'll put a B greater than S. Then we had this giant spike. That's when Solana was in favor over Bitcoin. And I talked about this trade, buying Solana here, selling it for Bitcoin up at the top here. I had a sell order in right around 0025 and another one at 00275. Both of those filled since then. The Solana Bitcoin pair has started to mean revert. It did break down below the 200-day moving average. We might be coming back to retest these levels at 002 if Bitcoin goes back in favor, so to speak, over Solana. So that's what I see there right now. Resistance at 0025, support down at 002, 0021, somewhere thereabouts. And again, the 200-day moving average is at 00235 or so. Two more to go. Solana just did those. Tesla. So Tesla, a lot of crazy news out recently, right? We've got earnings coming up, and the DeepSeek, which is, again, it's like a competitor to ChatGPT and OpenAI, as well as they were saying could be a competitor to somebody like Tesla, who does a lot in the AI space. That stands to question whether they would be able to come out with a computer that could do what, or a computer array, a cluster that could do what FSD actually does. FSD has millions and millions and millions of miles and hours worth of input going into it that's helping to make it stronger every single day. So the learning curve is way out there for FSD. That's my opinion. Again, my opinion. But we're not here to go over the fundamental side. Excuse me. We're here to talk about the technical analysis side. You can see I have a longer term channel this up channel that we've been in since back here in September, October timeframe. I also have this shorter term downwards channel that you see, the linear regression channel that's been going on since the all-time high back in December. What was that? December the 18th, we hit right around 488 back on December 18th. Since then, in a general downtrend leading into earnings. Earnings is tomorrow. And what do I see there if we zoom in? Well, here is the 50-day moving average. We are supporting on that pretty much perfectly on the 50-day moving average, as well as the bottom of this short-term channel. You can see that support is perfect. And on the long-term channel. So we're supporting, here's the short-term channel we're supporting on. Here's the long-term channel. And you notice everything is coming to a head right here. Predictions, I don't usually give predictions around earnings because it could be a crapshoot. It's all about what does Wall Street want to see or hear. What I see is Tesla a bit oversold right now. We did print a green mean reversion dot to the downside. The trend is starting to flatten right here. You'll notice going into earnings. If earnings comes out solid, we could get a bounce, in which case we've got to break through this 415 to 420 level that we've had a tough time breaking through. Then we've got some resistance back up here around 460. Finally, we have the previous all-time high at 488. Then the psychological level of 500. That's to the top side what I see for resistance. For support going to the downside, I see this 50-day moving average, first level of support. Next level is right here. You'll notice this downward channel. The bottom part of the downward channel is in alignment here with this 61.8 fib level. So that's down around 355 or so. I see that as kind of the floor right now, right around 350, 355 for Tesla. Lastly, we're going to go over MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is very similar. If you look at the chart, long-term linear regression. Whoops, I didn't have it in the drawing tool. Long-term linear regression up and to the right. Short-term linear regression down and to the right. So if we take a look at that, we've got them coming together. We've got a nice little almost wedge starting to form here with the asset. One could call that, if you take a look out, you could almost call that a bullish pennant. If you look at a longer term time frame here, again, 4-hour chart. What else do I see? I see it was supporting on the 50-day moving average. We lost that. The 100-day moving average is all the way down here around 280 to 285. And the bottom of the gap up, we had a Friday to Monday gap up almost over a month and a half ago now. We partially filled that gap back here at the end of the year, but we have not gone back down in there to fill the rest of the gap. So that is always a possibility. Although I believe at this point it's a long shot because it's a different company now, right? There's a lot more Bitcoin on the balance sheet every week. The last 2 weeks in a row, Saylor and the team over at MicroStrategy have purchased over 10,000 coins. So right now, really strengthening the balance sheet. Looks like that ATM is slowing down. They only have a couple billion left out of the 21 billion that they started with of ATM. They just announced a preferred convertible bond type instrument. It's not really a bond, it's a preferred convertibles where they can convert preferred shares at a future date, but it also kicks off a dividend. So it's almost like a mesh between a bond and a convertible securities, a preferred share and bond combo. It does kick off a dividend. They were originally going to do a $2 billion offering. I think now it's a $2.5 billion offering. There's still some things outstanding on what exactly it'll look like, but that was announced yesterday. If that's the case, hopefully, and I know hope's not a strategy, the selling slows down and they allow this puppy to start to breathe and start to go up. Curious to see what they're going to say here over on earnings. The earnings is slated as of right now for Wednesday, February the 5th per TradingView here. And I also heard that announced elsewhere on the internet. So right now, support is rock solid down here at 325. You can see how many times we've bounced on it. We did wick down one time down here to 300, just below 300, but 325, first level of defense, first level of resistance right up here at around 378 on the 61.8 fib level. Then next up would be to break this little short-term short-term high we had around 405. Then we've got to go and break through this level up here at this 440 to 450 range. Once we break above 450, we've got clear skies back up until the previous all-time high. That's what it looks like to the upside. I hope you found today's review, quick technical analysis review of the charts helpful. If you did, be sure to check out my YouTube channel. You'll want to go ahead and head on over there, subscribe to all of the videos that you have here. Give this video a like if you would. Comment down below to win a chance to get one of my courses for free. I am going to give away both a TradingView technical analysis and an understanding options course for free, but the only way you can get that is to like and to comment below, so make sure you do that. And again, thank you for tuning in. I hope that it helped you increase your financial literacy so that you're on your way to financial freedom. Take care, and we'll talk soon.